Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera to our lecturer Nazri Wahid, and my name is Nazarina Esambas. Me and my group members Dalcia, Rosemary and Norbaizra will presenting our assignment for Public Financial Administration Pet 370, which is Journal Article Review. Okay, in this assignment we will review 10 articles, and as for me I will review 2 articles, and for the introduction I will tell you what is a journal article review. Okay, as we know, an article review is an article on a topic that is summarized with important contents. It is based on surveys and summarized of articles that have been published before, including analyzing new reports. So, a review article is also known as a survey article. The main objective of the article review is to provide an evaluation of the data obtained from the study. By making an article review, we will be able to identify areas of research and be able to draw new conclusions with existing data. Okay, in this assignment, we will review and summarize 10 article from various journals on subject of procurement, and then we analyze the effectiveness of the procurement that conform to the procedures, processes, and the principles of public procurement as reflect to 1PP. The analysis included the procedures used, problem faced, and action taken in order to solve the problems, or any matters written by the articles discussed on procurement activities and its subjects to Malaysia practice. Okay, for article 1, I will review an article based on the article Government Purchasing, a review of e-procurement system in Malaysia, which is e-perolehan, and was from the authors Maniam Kalianan, Halimah Awang, and Murali Rahman. Okay, for information, the Malaysian government strives to improve the delivery of government service in line with the advancement of information and communication technology (ICT) and the internet to be more systematic. So they try to develop countries with using ICT to improve the quality of public service, increase access to information to the public, and also provide more participation in civic affairs. This case study examines the overall implementation of e-government initiative in Malaysia, with particular emphasis on electronic procurement project, also known as e-procurement. The general consensus among the buyer and seller community is that procurement will be a catalyst towards a new and innovative supply chain management process in the public sector in Malaysia. The advance of the internet, digital connectivity, and the adoption of e-commerce and e-business model in the private sector are pressuring the public sector to rethink their heretical and bureaucratic organizational model. So they think it really have to improve their system. In the e-procurement model, there are 3 different communities, namely the supplier community, the buyer community, and the procurement service provider, which act as a core participant of the e-procurement initiative as the pictures. Okay, the next picture shows the complete supplier e-procurement activation process. All government suppliers are required to register with the MOF if they wish to do business with federal government agency and department. Okay, for the research method, the study for this article review is using data collection method, and a total of 3,000 questionnaires were sent in October 2006 by mail to randomly selected supplier. Factor analysis was performed for the purpose of validity and reliability of the questionnaire content. Okay, for the problem and issue, based on the result of the study, there are also a problem and issue that exists in the Malaysian e-procurement initiative that prevent the government and service provider from maximizing the potential value of the e-procurement itself. Among the issue is the cost. Okay, the supplier must bear before activation. There is a cost to pendaftaran and also purchasing the smart card for the transaction. And the second one is infrastructure and skill. And some supplier are inexperienced with the use of the latest information system. It means lack of the exercise. So, and the third one is business focus, change management. The majority of supplier are not interested in doing business with the federal government. So maybe the federal government got giving the procurement requirement. That means supplier prefer to do business with local and state government because they can use traditional method. Traditional method is just a manual, not by system. And the fourth one is system constraints. The feedback received from the survey also indicates that the system in its current incarnation is not strong in some respect. For example, a supplier registered with the system can only upload 10 product information, and if you make the extra additional what you call this product, you have to pay additional payment. Okay, and the five reason is the 5 issue is government policy. Although the federal government of Malaysia encourage supplier to use e-procurement, the government can decide whether it's willing to transact with non-e-procurement companies as long as the company is registered with the MOF. Okay, for the second article, I'll choose level of certification and issue with procurement system used in the Malaysian public sector. This is a article review based on the article level of certification and issue with procurement system used in the Malaysia public sector from the author Mastura Jafar and Nur Hidayah Muhammad Razli from University Science Malaysia. Undoubtedly, the public sector has contributed a lot of development of the country. Public sector organized exists for the primary benefit of public citizen. The procurement system consists of two types, namely traditional and alternative. Traditional procurement system are categorized as lump sum firm bill of quantities, lump sum approximate bill of quantities, and lump sum drawing and specification. Public customers are obliged to spend public money properly by following a series of procedures, given the large number of projects required to support the country growth in the mid-1990s. Significant change to the dominant procurement system were implemented in the Malaysia construction industry. Since then, Malaysia has adopted a new public sector procurement system to cope with high demand and achieve project completion percentage faster. Okay, for the research method, the study of this article uses industry survey to conduct research. And the survey was conducted among various stakeholders in Malaysian construction industry. In addition, this study also uses the method of questionnaire development, which part of the study is about the procurement system applied in the Malaysian construction industry. Okay, about a problem and an issue. Based on the 5 level of procurement system, this study finds that there are related problems and issues from the perspective of the public sector. Okay, the main problem of both traditional and alternative procurement system are dispute, affordability, time, and cost. Okay, however, the study acknowledged the lack of attention given the public project during the brief stage. Also included is the lack of preparation for the design and quantity bills before the selection of a proven contractor. So, others issue is inadequate and ineffective communication between parties can lead to a lack information flow. The quality problem is also one of the minor problems encountered in all types of procurement. Although the issue of public sector building quality was highlighted, the result of the study shows that industry practitioners were less concerned with quality compared to the other two performance measures, namely time and cost. Okay, for the conclusion, this research article does not specifically state that the ways to overcome the issue and problem that arise. In this study, the dominant procurement system can be identified, the related problem, and the level of certification of the public procurement system in the Malaysian constructor industry. In a different perspective, this article highlights the importance of human factor in managing the procurement process. So, procurement transformation will question the transformation of the mindset and work culture of industry participant. Okay, that's all for the article 2, and thank you for watching.
Hi, I wish everyone having a good day. I'm Dalsia Dewi. Today I will present to you all about the impact of inflation through people. In economy, inflation is a general rise in the price of level of one economy over a period of time. When the general price level rises, each unit of currency buy fewer goods and services. Inflation reflects a reduction in the purchasing power per unit of money, a loss of real value in the medium of exchange and unit of account within the economy. The opposite of inflation is deflation, a sustained decrease in the general price level of goods and services. The common measure inflation is the inflation rate. The analyzed percentage change in general price index, usually the consumer price index over time. Economists believe that very high rates of inflation and hyperinflation are harmful and are caused by excessive growth of the money supply. Views on which factor determine low to moderate rates of inflation are more varied. Low or moderate inflation may be attributed to fluctuation in real demands for goods and services or change in available supply, such as during scarcities. However, the consensus view is that long sustained period of inflation is caused by money supply growing faster than the rate of economic growth. Inflation affects economies in various positive and negative ways. The negative effect of inflation included an increase in the opportunity cost of holding money, uncertainty over future inflation, which may discourage investment and saving. And if inflation were rapid enough, shortage of goods as consumer begin hoarding out of concern that prices will increase in the future. Positive effects include in reducing unemployment due to the nominal wage rigidity, allowing the central bank greater freedom in carrying out monetary policy, encourage loan and investment instead of money hoarding, and avoiding the inflation associated with deflation. Inflation had significant negative impact on the population. There are a lot of folks that are getting laid off. The COVID-19 pandemic has mostly affected the entertainment business, but it also had impact on culture and entertainment, information media, society and rights, and politicals. The COVID-19 recession is a global economic downturn that began as a result of COVID-19 pandemic and continues to this day. This is the world's worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. The COVID-19 lockdowns and other precautions implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic plunged the world economy into crisis. Following a global economic slowdown in 2019 that show financially market and consumer activity remains stagnant. Every advanced economy was in recession or depression within 7 months. And all emerging economies were recession. According to the World Bank projection, full recovery will not occur until 2025 or later in some places. In several countries, unemployment has risen at extremely high rate during the recession. Overwhelming state-funded unemployment insurance computer system and process, in April 2020, the United Nations anticipated the worldwide unemployment will remain at 6.7% of working hours in the second quarter of 2020, resulting the loss of 195 million full-time workers. Unemployment is predicted to reach approximately 10% in some countries, especially in Malaysia, with higher unemployment rates expected in areas more badly affected by COVID-19 epidemic. A reduction in remittance also hit developing countries, aggravating famines in link the COVID-19 epidemic, as we can see in the Malaysian situation. The crisis began at the same time as the stock market crash of 2020, which saw major indices drop by 20 to 30% in late February and early March. Early April 2020 marked the start of the recovery, and by late 2020, many market indices had recovered or even established new highs. In compared to the previous decade, the recession and the 2020 Russia-Saudi Arab oil price war resulted in the decline in oil price, the collapse of tourism, hospitality, and the energy industry, and a drop in consumer activity. The tourism business has been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has resulted in travel restriction and a drop in demand from tourists. The tourism industry has been severely harmed by the spread of the coronavirus, which has resulted in several countries imposing travel restrictions in attempt to stem the virus spread. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, foreign visitor arrival could drop by 58% to 70% in 2020, resulting the loss of US 0.9 trillion to 1.2 trillion in international tourism received. The COVID-19 pandemic has wreaked havoc on educational systems around the world, forcing school, early childhood education and care center, university, institution to close the door. In attempt to stem the spread of COVID-19, most governments opted to close education institutions temporarily until right now. As we can see, all the school and university educated for the usage of distance learning program, as well as open educational tools and platform like Google Classroom for the school and teacher can utilize to reach out to student remotely and minimize interruption for study. The COVID-19 pandemic has had significant impact on the television industry, mirroring its effect across all art sectors in many countries, especially in Malaysia, Hollywood, and Bollywood. Production of television program has been halted or delayed, resulting in negative revenue impact from right and advertising sales, as well as job losses. Such adjustment and safeguards have been implemented to respond to mandates for social distance and stay-at-home order, as well as agreement by production firm and broadcaster to ensure the safety of all those participating in the production. According to the Empire analysis, the epidemic has pushed back at least 60% of script television content around the world. There had been rises in non-script production, including smaller size series that could be created remotely and utilized to fill schedule until script program resume production. Today, most economies favor a low and straight rate of inflation. Low inflation reduces the severity of economic recession by enabling the labor market to adjust more quickly in downturn and reduce the risk that illiquidity trap prevent monetary policy from stabilizing the economy. The task of keeping the rate of inflation low and stable is usually given to monetary authority. Generally, these monetary authority are the central bank that control monetary policy through the setting of interest rates, through open market operation, and through the setting of banking reserve requirement. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Siti Nobaizura. I will present the article that I choose. There are three articles based on the public procurement. The first, okay, you can go see. The first article that I choose is the review based on the Journal Preventing Corruption in Public Procurement from OECD. The second article, this is review based on the journal, the Malaysian Public Procurement Prevalent System and its weakness. And the third article is this review for Public Accountability System, empirical assessment of public sector of Malaysia. So these three articles, they have the same function and the same problem. They use the same method research too. The method research that it is journal using is one is data sampling, is true report from current time across the country, and the second is variable by various type of corruption, act and purpose of the bribe, and the third one is data analyze using charge bar to view statistic and reports on corruption across the country. So the problem this three article is try to say is that firstly is lack of capital, means the effect of shortcoming has led cooperation societies unable to produce reasonable returns to members, even though some cooperative do have excess fund. Second, absence of good corporate governance and weak structure. Both members fail in carrying out their duties according to the best governance practice. The appointment should be based on member experiences and trustworthy rather than their popularity. For the third one, a lack of managerial talent. The members of their elected representatives are not experienced enough to manage the organization because of limited capital. They are not able to get a professional management. So the fourth one is lack of integrity among the management. It is because of the cooperative movement has had a long scandalous history of mismanagement, criminal breach of trust and fraud. So for the solution that they make to conquer the present circumstances is essentially changing the design of administrations isn't enough. The general public area should be changed into turning into a solid and effective area by guaranteeing a legitimate responsibility and its appropriate appraisal framework. The discoveries of investigation will help diverse government organizations and divisions to improve their responsibility depend on the applicable assistant conspire. Simultaneously, There's responsibility, estimation, components, and procedures utilized in this investigation may help the government in fostering the responsibility estimation method for the public area. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rosemary. Thanks to our lecturer for PAD 370, Public Financial Administration, Mr. Narzi Wahid, for giving this opportunity to us by presenting our group assignment for this subject. I will representing my part which covered the Article 9 and 10. Through this Bob article, Malaysians are continued to give preference to locally here enterprise in government pressure and need to guarantee that public procurement objectives are given equal priority to be improving. As we can know it, public procurement perform has an important key function in service delivery and the performance of government department. Their method research engineering are referred to those processes, procedure, and entities involved in the process of goods and service by private and public entities. Based on the above article, their common problems are corruption, lack of accountability and transparency, lack of professional procurement expertise, and widespread corruption, and also public procurement mismanagement. Moreover, to solve and managing the weakness of the public procurement in Malaysia, Government Green Procurement now has GGP, the Informants of Whistleblower Protection Act 2010, e-procurement or e-perolehan are implementation by the government to help it in dealing and managing with the problematic or issue in improving the national economic growth and social development nowadays.